What's up, guys? Today we are doing another plated trainer comparison, looking at the SC Trainer V2, which is the newest plated trainer that I've brought into the stable, versus the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, which is one of the models that I've put the most miles on across every single shoe that I've had over the past 2 years. I think I've put over 600 miles combined with this blue guy and then my white and red version of it, which was the launch colorway. So I know this shoe intimately well. I'm getting to know the SC Trainer V2 a little bit better, but I have about 70 miles on this pair and loving every single mile of it so far. So it seems I'm building a little bit of a specialty right now in these plated trainers. I got the Boston 12. I also have 2 more coming in this week. Stay tuned. So I'm gonna be doing a bunch of these comparisons. I know these are hot on the market right now, and I'm going to get a ton of miles across all of them so I can let you know which one is going to be the best for you. If you are considering buying either of these, please use the links that I'm putting in the description below, or go to Supwell, use the running shoe matcher tool to get matched with the best shoe for you. And if you buy using my link through Running Warehouse, I will get a commission, which helps keep the channel going, which helps justify the 40+ hours a week that I put on this when I should be in bed sleeping next to Charlie. And if you're not using the Running Warehouse link, I will have a link to a deal. So what I do is on Supwell, we always have the lowest price on the shoe. So the SC Trainer V2 right now is linking to the New Balance page, because you can get this one this weekend for $122. So it's the best of both worlds. If you use my links, you're either going to be supporting the channel or you're going to be getting the best shoe deal out there. Also, Running Warehouse does have a 90-day return policy, which is a huge bonus if you haven't gotten to try either of these on foot yet. So with that, let's get into it. So the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 is the shoe which kickstarted this plated training segment. This shoe and the Tempo Next Percent back in 2020 hit the market around the same time, a few months spaced out, and they brought the concept of a plate, which Nike popularized in the Vaporfly, to a training shoe. So this one has a plastic plate, which gives it a little bit more flexibility than a carbon fiber plate, and has a nice soft and bouncy foam underfoot. The first few versions of the shoe were known for uncompromising speed. They had this dart-like feel, very narrow, and then the third version, they widened out the shoe a little bit, gave it that broader mainstream appeal. It gets more mass appeal, but kind of rounds out those qualities that made it special. So in this third version, the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 is ironically a hybrid daily trainer and speed shoe. It's friendly for slower paces, but also because of this rocker and plastic plate, can pick it up and do some quality fast work. Now the SC Trainer V2 is one of the most similar shoes on the market to the Speed 3 in terms of the overall fit and feel of it. It has a nice rocker. It also has a soft and bouncy foam. But the different character in this shoe comes from its slightly higher stack. So this one has 40 millimeters in the heel versus the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, which is a bit lower. And the weight on the SC Trainer V2 is also a little bit heavier. This is in the 9-ounce range versus the Speed is around 8 ounces. Now the first version of the SC Trainer V2 was more of a recovery running shoe. It had a very bottom heavy feel. It was really protective, but not the fastest option out there. And I've said this a few times recently, but it was one of the only shoes I've ever sent back. Whereas the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, I was running in that at the same time that I tried the SC Trainer V1 and absolutely loved it. I didn't quite grasp what they were going for, New Balance that is, with the SC Trainer V1, and the V2 has cleared it up a little bit. This is a nice smooth rolling ride that provides a lot of comfort underfoot, but with the plate and this fuel cell foam, it has a little bit more pop to it than a standard max cushion shoe. So these are about the same price MSRP. The SC Trainer V2 is $180 versus the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 is $170, but you can find this one for $122 right now as of the time that I'm filming this video. I'll put the link there below for $122, again at newbalance.com. Alright guys, now diving into the midsoles of the SC Trainer V2 versus the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. So both of these use in name their brand's racing foam. So the Saucony Endorphin Speed uses Power Run PB. So Power Run PB is a beaded PIBA. If you look here up close, you can see these little lines through the foam, all these little dots. These are individual pellets, and through the manufacturing process of the foam, they're expanded, they're molded together, and they create this midsole that is nice and soft, nice and bouncy, and has a fast feel even at slower running paces. It's a shoe that has a nice fun ride to it. So with that Power Run PB midsole, you also are getting this plastic plate in here. It's a winged nylon plate. That's what Saucony calls it. So you can see this shiny black piece here. That is the wing that comes up on the side. This is another thing that Saucony pioneered that I'm now seeing across a ton of the new models coming out in 2024. So Brooks Hyperion Max 2 is doing this. The Salomon S Lab Spectre is doing this. It locks the foot in place a little bit more so that as you're cornering, as you're running along, you have a little bit more stability. Now, the New Balance SC Trainer V2 uses the brand's fuel cell foam. Now, fuel cell in this version of shoes is a blend of supercritical TPU and EVA. So with that, it's not going to have as much energy return as PIBA. PIBA is the highest energy returning foam on the market. I believe if you know any differently, please cite your study in the comment section below. And while this fuel cell isn't going to be as naturally bouncy as the Power Run PB, you are getting a carbon fiber plate in the SC Trainer V2 versus this plastic plate. So the carbon plate is going to have a little bit more snap to it, a little bit more energy return, and overall be a little bit firmer in that midsole than the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. So if you are squeamish about me bending the shoes, you might want to avert your eyes, but let's do a little bit of a bend test here. You can see on the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, I can get this almost folded in on itself, versus if we check out this SC Trainer, I'm using about the same amount of force. This is very unscientific, but there's no way I could fold this in on itself. So a little bit more of a rigid platform in the SC Trainer V2, but with this tall stack of fuel cell, it doesn't feel harsh underfoot, especially on step in. You can really feel that soft foam in the SC Trainer V2. So out there on the ride, Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 is a little bit of an uncontrolled feeling. It's a really fun shoe to run in. It's a really easy shoe to run in, but it's kind of like a horse just chomping at the bit to get out of that gate and go. So no matter if you're running a 7:30 mile or a 10:30 mile, it feels like in the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, you're running maybe 15 per second mile faster than you really are, and it feels like the shoe wants you to just get out there and turn over your legs. SC Trainer V2, on the other hand, while it has that rocker, while it has the bouncy foam, it feels a little bit more relaxed on the ride. And that's because this fuel cell foam, you're getting a bigger stack of it, and it has a little bit more of a cushioned impact protection feel versus the Speed 3. It's not so much impact protection, it's a lot of bounce. So with that, I prefer the Speed 3 for days where I want to run faster daily miles or some structured workouts. Now, I've said this about the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, but don't love these shoes for doing true speed work or true all-out racing. Something about the Speed 3 and the Pro 3 just don't have the bite that I like, and because they have this Power Run PB, which is a little bit softer, it doesn't work as well for my stride and my foot strike. However, I know a lot of lighter runners really like the feeling of the Speed 3. Also, runners who are maybe in that 3:30, 4-hour, 4:30 marathon range really like the feeling of the Speed 3 for speed work. I was at a running store the other day chatting with one of the staff there, and she runs a 2:38, and she uses the Speed 3 for all of her runs, but she's like half my size. So this is definitely a shoe that you can use for speed work. I wouldn't advise it if you're a bigger, more powerful runner. You probably will prefer something with a little bit more oomph and structure to it, and that's something like the Adidas Boston 12, or maybe one of these new plated trainers, which I'm going to get in this week, which I'm hoping will add a little bit more spice and interest into this segment. So the SC Trainer V2 here, I've run some fast miles in the shoe. I've taken it down to 6:20. I did a workout a few weeks ago. It was in a long run. I was alternating on-off miles, and I was running like a 7:30 mile and then a 6:20 mile on and off for the last 10 miles. And the SC Trainer V2 felt pretty good. I could get out there, I could get cranking. It's not the lightest weight on the foot, but for that style of run, and for context, my marathon pace right now is anywhere from 6:15, 6:20 up to 6:45. So for that marathon pace style of workout, this is a really fun shoe for that. I wouldn't necessarily want to go a sub 6-minute pace or a 10K pace in the shoe, but it certainly can be done if it is your one plated training option. I much prefer the SC Trainer V2 for long runs where I'm not pushing the pace as much, and for those steady style days where I want a little bit more of a fun ride than a standard daily trainer can offer. Now the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, I use this for long runs as well through a few different training cycles, and I found that it just had a little bit of a bottoming out feeling toward the end of long runs. It's not the most resilient foam. That's something we've been talking a lot about on this channel recently. How quickly do foams rebound both in between runs? So if you run in the Speed 3 on Monday morning, then run it again on the afternoon, or on Tuesday morning, then on Wednesday, does it feel the same? Does it feel fresh? Speed 3 here does not rebound quickly in between runs, and also at the end of 2-hour long runs, I felt like I wasn't getting anything out of the forefoot. felt like it was completely dead. That issue happened to me pretty quickly in with the shoes, maybe around the 100-mile mark. So I do not prefer the Speed 3 for long runs. I prefer something with a little bit more cushion, and the carbon fiber plate in the SC Trainer V2 makes it a much better option. I have not gotten that bottoming out feeling in the SC Trainer V2 at all, and I've taken this up to 2 hours and 50 minutes out on the run. Now, in terms of the stability, these are about equal. The Saucony has that stability from the nylon plate. They both have decently wide platforms. Neither of them is overly wide. Speed 3 is a little bit more narrow, as you can see through the midfoot here, and a little bit more narrow in the back, but generally both of these feel pretty stable. And I didn't have any issues with cornering in either of them. All right, guys, now heading up to the upper. In terms of the lockdown, Speed 3 takes the cake, no question. This is one of the best lockdowns in a training shoe that I've ever experienced. The upper material on the Speed 3 is stretchy, it's lightweight, it's breathable, it feels really nice on the foot, and something that's pretty underrated with this series of shoes here is the laces have the perfect amount of stretch so that you can tie this any amount of tightness. You're not gonna get the lace bite, and you get a good lockdown whether or not you have it loose or tight. So that's something that I would beg brands to emulate. Look at what Saucony did with the Speed 3 upper and add it to your training shoes, because this is a really fantastic upper that we have here. SC Trainer V2, I said this in my full review, the upper here is really unimpressive, it's uninspiring, it's probably the weakest area of the shoe. It feels cheap and scratchy, it's not that breathable, the laces aren't stretchy, they're a little bit starchy, and it has a little bit of padding, but it's not overly padded. Overall, it's just kind of there. I don't have any issues with it out on the run, but it doesn't feel like a $180, almost $200 shoe should feel. In terms of the fit though, SC Trainer V2 is going to give you more room up in the forefoot and the midfoot. This is a way more generous upper, way better for wide feet. And the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 actually had issues with my left foot on the outside of the shoe. My pinky was getting pinched in, and I still have some issues with the skin on that side of the foot from the 300 miles that I put in this pair of Speed 3s last summer. So lockdown goes to Speed 3, but for our wide-footed friends, the comfort and fit is going to go to the SC Trainer V2. Alright guys, now in terms of the outsole and durability, so as I mentioned, I've put 600 miles across two pairs of Speed 3s, and I've put about 70 miles on this pair of SC Trainer V2. I will note I've also put 250 miles on a pair of Rebel V3s, which use a similar outsole rubber and midsole combination as we see here in the SC Trainer V2. So starting first with the Speed 3, you can see at 300 miles here, we are starting to see foam degradation in the back. We're also seeing the rubber is worn almost completely here. In my highest wear area, through the front of the shoe, it's looking okay. So rubber, not great durability, probably gonna go around that 250 to 350 mile mark for most people. More efficient runners might be able to get it up to 400 miles, but in terms of the performance of the foam itself, for me, it lost its life at around 270 miles across both pairs of these shoes, so definitely not the most durable shoe. I have seen some people taking these up to high mileage, but again, that's gonna be for the most efficient, lightest runners out there, which I do not fall into that camp. I should mention, I don't know if I said this yet in this video, I'm 6'2" and 160 pounds. My cadence is around 170 when I'm running at a normal pace, and up to 175 to 180 when I'm at half marathon to threshold pace. Now on the SC Trainer V2, let's take a look at the damage we've done so far. So again, 70 miles on this pair here. You can see the texture of the rubber starting to wear flat. We get some degradation of the foam here in the highest wear areas. Up in the front, we're not seeing too much going on here yet, which is a good sign for the SC Trainer V2. Now there have been some complaints of durability in the SC Trainer V2, and because I only have 70 miles on this, I can't tell you with 100% confidence how it's gonna go. What I can tell you is my Rebel V3 at 250 miles still feels really good. It still has a lot of life left in it. The outsole rubber hasn't gone, and what I've found with this New Balance rubber is that it starts to wear through a little bit within the first 50 to 70 miles, and then it stays at that area for the next 100 to 200 miles. So I'm confident I can get the SC Trainer V2 up to that 250 mile mark. I'm not sure if it's gonna get much past 300. If you're looking for the most durable shoe out there, these two are not gonna be it. Let me just tell you that now. Boston 12 is the most durable marathon training shoe on the market. Until I get in that Puma DV8 Nitro 2, maybe that can knock it off its crown, but I have 250 miles on the Boston 12, and that thing is in great shape. So both of these have probably below average durability. With the carbon fiber plate in the SC Trainer V2, you might get a little bit more life in it than you get with the Speed 3, because this one, when the Power Run PB goes, the bounce also goes with it. So in terms of who these are best for, if you're a lighter, more efficient runner, you want something fun to run in for your everyday miles and some of your speed workouts, I would highly recommend the Speed 3. This is a great option for shorter and faster efforts. The rocker platform gives it this nice rolling feel that makes it super easy to run in. And the upper has a great lockdown, which combined with the midsole and the rocker make it a really comfortable shoe to run in. Now the SC Trainer V2 is going to be a good option for bigger runners who want a plated training shoe that's a little bit more comfortable. It's also going to be a good option for those days where you want something, maybe you're going a little bit slower, but just to give you a little bit of extra bounce. That's the SC Trainer V2. I also much prefer the SC Trainer V2 for long runs. The Speed 3 can do it, but it doesn't give you as much support at the end of those efforts. I find it goes a little bit lifeless at that 2-hour mark. So SC Trainer V2, better for bigger runners, better for long runs, better for slower paces. Speed 3, better for lighter, efficient runners, better for shorter and faster efforts. Now, if you want a plated training shoe for 5K pace, 10K pace, threshold, neither of these would be my first choice. For that, I would look to something like the Boston 12. And as I mentioned, we're also going to be getting some new shoes in for testing, so keep an eye out on the channel because I think one of the new shoes I'm getting in might take the cake for 5K, 10K, and threshold work. All right, guys, so there you have it. That is the comparison of the SC Trainer V2 and the Speed 3. As always, drop your shoe questions below. Send me an email at yoanna@subwell.io, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video.